Sit and we listen to the rain on the roof and we contemplate a life of trees. So long.
We are sisters, Julia and Anastasia, and this is our home in the Australian rainforest. We have a dream to build a self-sustainable future and regenerate the land for generations to come. In our slow life in the countryside, watching the animals grow is so inspiring, and we learn so much as we grow alongside them. The animals bring us so much love and joy, but they also do so much for the land. Since we introduced them into our permaculture systems, they have changed everything, more than we could have ever imagined. We have realized that, without animals, the ecosystem is incomplete, and to mimic these natural systems makes magic. Introducing goats to regenerate the land has changed the landscape so much, eliminating weeds and letting native plants thrive.
Tonight it looks yellowy grey. Remember that the moon is always here to present for.
Every morning we let the goats out, and it's one of my favourite parts of the day when Moth is busy eating and Bird comes out to play. He is so energetic and bouncy in the morning.
Tonight it looks yellowy grey.
This week he has learnt to use the seesaw. He's so proud of himself and likes to show off every morning. This little bundle of joy gives us so much inspiration to approach every day with bouncing and excitement, and to jump with joy everywhere we go. We're pulling lantana out today. It's an invasive weed that we're trying to clear from the land to let native trees return. The goats follow us everywhere, and they contribute to the team by being cute and getting in the way all of the time.
You're gonna eat it now.
They also nibble on the lantana when it tries to reshoot and stop the process. While I don't know if Bird knows his important role in regenerative farming yet, he will learn, and soon he will join the flock to eat invasive weeds all day. He represents a new generation of goats who will care for this land and make so much change. In his sweet eyes and tiny bouncing hooves, we see so much hope. We're planting a native bunya pine here. They're a species of tree local to this area, and they have existed for over 100 million years. They have massive pine cones that fall off in the summer, and millions of years ago, these pine cones were food for dinosaurs. They grow super tall and can live for 600 years. The bunya forests are culturally significant for many Indigenous Australians. This is the land of the Arakwal and Minjungbal people of the Bundjalung Nation. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country we live on, and recognise their continuing connection to the forests, land, and waters. It feels so amazing to plant this beautiful tree that might be in this very spot 600 years from now. It's so incredible to think that we can have a positive effect on the world 600 years from now. And even if it's just a small difference, it's so moving to imagine this tree standing through centuries of change. We have almost cleared this paddock, but in the corner some shoots have returned. It hasn't rained for a while, so the soil is very dry, and it's hard to pull out. But with a team effort, sharing the work of pulling and shoveling, we are able to pull all the roots out. It feels so immense to clear this land and allow room for native biodiversity to return. It's a hard job, but it's so rewarding to see these forests thrive. Thank you to our patrons, whose contribution helps us to continue this work and plant trees.
Wonder where often propagating, weather permitting, eagerly waiting spring so we can plant things. Living off pickles on shelves in the pantry. Casseroles, curries, stews, seasonal vegetable soup. Eating fresh greens, vitamins and minerals, foraging for food and medicinal herbs. Getting home late, keeping cooking simple, as we will be waking up early for planting, weather permitting, eagerly awaiting spring so we can plant things. Mothering nature, best to do nothing. Sit on your hands and stop interfering. With consciousness, help nature take its course.
Bird loves the seesaw so much.
Then interact, catch and store energy, value diversity, create shapes from patterns in nature, make no waste.
Papa Fern is so sweet with Bird. He is so gentle and puts up with Bird's overexcitement, teaching him so softly.
Eagerly awaiting spring so we can plant things.
This little sweetie has so much character already.
Eagerly awaiting spring so we can plant things.
At this time of year, across the valley, the flame trees stand out amongst the deep rainforest. The rain has come rolling over the hills, and we are so happy for these heavy droplets to nourish the seedling and help it grow. The rain is so incredible at this time of year. The showers come and go so quickly, and they're so full of such huge droplets.
Sit down. Cosmos, Bug, Mushroom and Ghost are getting so big they almost don't fit in their basket.
Every day they get bigger and bigger. It's amazing to watch them grow their feathers and adapt to the world.
As they grow, we always give them a daily bath, and we fill it with flowers each time. I'm always sad to see their yellow fluff turn white, but watching them grow and change is incredible. I'm making potato rusties for lunch.
All year round, she won't tell me waiting rain, we'll get our share later. Wake through the night, jumping the embers, singing as spring and summer rain. We realize from the bonfire what was doused in April showers. The power of nature has a place in our future. The power of nature has a place in our future. The power of nature has a place in our future. Come what may, hitch a ride on the coaster. The rain came, we have our fill.
Moth always leaves Bird by the window for us to babysit, while she goes and munches on some grass.
The waxing of the sun sprang into action, packed with nurture. Grow all the greens you need from seed, feed on food from what you sow. The power of nature has a place in our future. The power of nature has a place in our future. The power of nature has a place in our
we're off to the studio.
Power of nature has a place in our future. The power of nature has a place in our future.
Bird's joy is contagious, and we no longer walk but bounce everywhere we go.
Where are you going?
He loves playtime in the studio so much, and enjoys being naughty and bouncy while his mum is off
Where are you
eating.
going, Bird? Bird!
Did you bounce yourself out? Is it sleeping time now? No.
Last week, he was such a sleepy tiny newborn, but this week, he seems to have grown up into a naughty toddler who misbehaves for the babysitters. We're not mad though. This cutie can do whatever he wants and we'll be happy to be his babysitters.
Careful. That is so naughty.
Julia is drawing a magical scene of me, high above the water in my favourite tree. Her art always captures the feeling of the seasons so beautifully. Bird got tired after bouncing in circles for 10 minutes and has fallen asleep on her lap. This routine of babysitting this sleepy boy is so incredible, and we always can't wait to get down here and create with this sweet company.
I've got to hand it to you, your soul, and you caught my eye in the water, pushed by the tide. I found you. Can I carry you around?
I'm making a top. I'm designing it from scratch, so it's a long process, but I'm very excited. First, I'm choosing where to place the design lines. I'm using old ribbons to place each seam and see it on the body. Now that I have the design lines all sorted on the mannequin, I go back to pattern making and try to sort it all out on paper, then make a rough draft and put it back on the mannequin, and then see if I'm happy, which I probably won't be. So then go back to the paper, and then back and forward until I'm happy, which always takes a while, but it's a really fun process.
Don't eat my patterns! Don't, Maggie. Good girl. Good girl. I have decided to make a singlet instead of a top because I feel like it suits the singlet style more. Maggie, be quiet! Can you be quiet, please? Maggie and Fern are jealous of all the attention that Bird's getting. So they've snuck in and they are jumping on everything and fighting and screaming. Maggie, shush! Anyway, I'm gonna change it. So I finished putting the design lines on the mannequin and I think I'm really happy with it. It's always hard to tell at this stage, but I think it's gonna be really cool. This is the sun and then these are beams of light that come out and spread, and then one of them turns into the strap which comes around to the back and then it's open back. So I traced all that down onto paper and made a pattern. And now I'm going to make a really rough draft of the piece, just like one section of it to see if it all sort of works the way I want it to. And then from there I'll work out fit and everything. So I made a little half twirl, or just like a prototype that is really dodgy, just to see. And I think I really like it. Hey, Bird! Hey, ducks! I'm really happy with all that, so now I'm going to put it back on the pattern. This process is so much just putting it 2D and then 3D and then 2D and then 3D and then 2D, and in the end you finally perfect it. I don't have time to finish it today, so I'm going to come back tomorrow and finish the pattern making and then hopefully do the next prototype and see if it works. The next day, Bird has so much energy. In the mornings, he bounces with joy everywhere and jumps all over us until he gets tired and then he falls asleep in our laps. This routine never gets old. His newest trick is climbing on the old goat pen, but he always needs a little help getting up.
I'm gonna go sew again, but first I have to let all my ducks out of their night pens, which is always a very time-consuming job, but I love it.
Good morning! You go. You're my parrot. Something on my head? I'm a little angry at the ducks at the moment because they ate all my seedlings. It's hard to stay mad at them for long though. I planted heaps of flower seeds and they all sprouted and were going really well with the rain. And my marigolds were like this tall, and I had zinnias coming up and sunflowers, and they came and ate every single one of them. There's, I think, 3 sunflowers left and maybe like 1 cosmos. That's it. Everything else is gone. So we need to find a solution, don't we, Wim? Because you're too naughty to live in a flower garden, even though I made you a flower garden. I think that we'll put a sort of temporary fence halfway, and then that way we can put them on that side of the fence and build up this garden and bring them back for the night time to sleep in their pen. Calm down! And then they won't eat them as they're growing and they can sort of establish themselves, and then they can come back and be in the flower garden, which is the dream.
I still have a lot more pattern making to do, and it's just started raining. It's so cozy in here.
Hey Maggie! Bye Maggie! Excuse me? What are you doing?
Going to get those things. Live on and settling in. Back home I owe my life to the meadow. The river knows how one flows.
Uh-oh, are you gonna fall asleep here? I've got work to do.
It's by the friendship, not too close.
So I think I'm going to make the final piece out of these colours, which I'm really excited about. But first I'm going to make a practice to make sure everything is good. And I'm going to make it out of this cheap fabric. What? Are you sad because it's raining? Yeah. No. Mo, are you sad because it's raining too? You are. You're both sad.
Ahead of the game, played by one and the same. The willow knows how one flows.
Come on! Me and Clover are moving the sheep to their favourite paddock. So they're a bit excited. Come on! Hey? It's raining so heavily. Come on! Come on! Come on!
I finished lining it. It's so confusing because there's so many pieces. I got so lost halfway, but I finally got there. Now I'm going to turn it inside out and see if it works. I finished. So there's a lot of mistakes, but that's what making this practice is all about. Finding what to do next time. And I think I'm really happy with it. I'll work out if this back stuff works.
Time to let the light in. As fresh as a petal, now yellow as tea.
I'm starting to cut out the pattern, which is super exciting. The coolest thing is that because this pattern is made from such tiny pieces, I can use tiny scraps of fabric that otherwise would have to be thrown out. Like this scrap is from an old top that I made a while ago, and it's so small. And yeah, it's just really cool. Like in factories, they throw out meters worth of offcuts every day just because they don't work with their pattern. And it's exciting to be able to make use of what we already have.
Another coating, sail white, layer upon layer, her face a touch paler. She stays inside, with the sky in the ceiling, the sunset on the wall. Who needs mediocre? Time to go, Magnolia. Time to go, Magnolia.
It's time to sew the lining in, and I'm almost done, so that's exciting. I finished!
Plain and simple, I play it safe, a pale sullen yellow. Mistranslation.
The music in this video is by the incredible band Small Plant. They are two foraging, gardening artists who create the most wholesome music, celebrating connection with nature. You can find their links in our description. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And thank you so much to our patrons. We are so grateful to grow with you on this journey.